Hare Krishna. So, so today we are going to start. So from here onwards, I think we will have a lot of now katha and stories about the creations. So before these chapters, we heard about different timing and how it's all started, right? So in the starting process, the Brahma was explaining that what he saw, and after a lot of austerity and his meditations, many years, Lord become happy, and then Lord give him all the whatever is needed for him to expand the more creations part. So yesterday in our class also there was Bhagavad. I was asking the people, the typical our thing is, who is the creator of everything? So what we will say, oh, Brahma is the creator. When you ask the same question to Brahma, are you the creator? What Brahma will say? He say, no, I am not the creator. Because creator, I am just the executor. I got the script and I got the instruction, I got the energy, I got the equipments, I got everything which I'm using, which is provided by my Lord Narayan, right? So, so Brahma himself is very clearly saying, which we already heard that one. He was telling to his son, because son was asking that question, I want to know. So based on that, now Maitreya Muni is responding to all the questions asked by Vidura. So now we need to understand there are a lot of people is narrating this story. As we know that is Bhagavatam is spoken by Ved Vyas to his son, and Sukhdev Goswami is narrating to Parikshit Maharaj. During that katha in that audience, our Sutta Goswami was also there. Now Sutta Goswami is narrating this entire thing in the Nemya Sharanya forest to all the different Rishi Muni, 80,000 Rishi Munis are accumulated. And now Sutta Goswami is narrating all the story what he heard from Sukadeva Goswami. So this conversation of Maitreya Muni and the Vidura, he was telling that this was told by our Sukadeva Goswami. So there are a lot of speakers in that one. Sometimes I myself, okay, now who is telling whom? So the bottom line is we are hearing from Sutta Goswami. That what Sukadeva Goswami told in that that sabha or in that conversation. So now these we are directly. This is again giving the instruction that we are getting this knowledge from each parampara. This is not like someone is saying, oh, I think or that thing, right? So our knowledge is coming from that parampara. That's the important part. So now what we are going to learn from today is how the four Kumāras came and what is the purpose of the four Kumāra. And after that, Brahma, uh, why he was not happy, when he was not happy and got some angerness, what creations happened. And after that, he was not happy with that also. And then he thought, okay, let me expand more further. Then again, he was not happy. Then again, he was further. Then based on that, Manu, as soon the Manu and that part is created, and then the expansion become like a flourish. Then everyone is creations is happening. That's why we heard that Manu name in our Bhagavad Gita also. Krishna says that I spoke this knowledge to Vivaswar. And then to whom? Manu. And then Ishvaku. And then so and so forth. So this knowledge is coming from that parampara. This will give, and it will connect so many dots, right? From the Bhagavad Gita and from Bhagavatam and listening from all the Sutta Goswami and Jiva Goswami narrations, we can connect this one. Okay, how, who is his spoken word? And the ultimate source of all energy and the creations is our Supreme Lord Krishna. So now in this chapter, which says the name of the chapter is Canto number 3, chapter 12, Creations of the Kumāras and Others. I will just give you a very high level summary and then we will read the translation. There are not much of purport. Prabhupada didn't give much of the purport. There are a few purports, but at the end, he was just explaining how the creations. So as part of the instruction from the Lord, Brahma has should be, and he has to be, expand this creations part. So when he was start creating, So in the Bhagavatam, it says that in this chapter, it says that initially what he did is he created the 5 ignorance. As again, we heard these 3 modes many times, and that due to the mode and which mode who is created, it's reflect that personality also. And I was also thinking that because why Krishna or the Narayana has to give the instructions to create Asur people. Everyone should be sur, right? So it will be peaceful and everything. Why that happened? So do we know that Brahma, he was always in the mode of which mode? Goodness, passion, ignorance? Anyone? Ritika Mataji, you are saying, but you are in mute.
Mode of goodness?
Passion. Good. The human is a passion, right?
Passion. He was in all the, he was affected by all the 3 mode, but majority of the time he was in passion. And because of the passion, and in the beginning he created, I don't know why, I was trying to find more detail, that in the shloka number 2 says that the 5 feature of ignorance is created, and which called as the tamaha, moham, and tamaha means the darkness about the self-knowledge. Moham is illusionary body conceptions. We will read all of them, but I'm just giving the just high-level summary of this chapter so that we can connect. When we'll read the translation, it will be easy for us. So after that, moham, maham, and then the 2 of them is the tameshwaram and andha tameshwaram. So tameshwaram is the anger upon frustrations. Andha means andha, the blind like. So unconscious state brought about the anger, the sense of the death, that also called as. But after having this 5 ignorance thing, and then Brahma decided that let me start the creations part. So he created the 4 Kumāras, who are free from the fruitive. These 4 Kumāras in the pure goodness form. And now we say that, okay, Brahma is in the passionate, how he can create. Because again, the Brahma also gave the 4 Vedas. So he is the full of the knowledge, but he is still working in the 3 modes. And he also affected, we will heard something, but I'm trying to find more details about some of the things which we can't believe that Brahma could do that thing, right? So we will go through that as a summary part. When he created the 4 Brahma, when Brahma created 4 Kumāras, so this, 1 minute, I'm reading my notes just to give. So Brahma asked all the Kumāras. We know that all the 4 Kumāras, who are the 4 Kumāras? We will get the name of either Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumāras. These 4 Kumāras created, but they are in the pure goodness. But when he created and he asked his 4 sons, okay, now you need to do the progeny. You need to expand yourself more further because you have sufficient that much of, like Lord Narayan gave him the Brahma so that you can do the expansion now. But Kumāra also have the same power what the Brahma also got it. But after hearing from his father that, okay, I have to do the creations things, but their mode is beyond the goodness. Then their 4 sons, they say, no, father, we cannot do this progeny thing. We want to get into the liberation mode. I want to move out of this and we want to search and preach about the liberation part. That's why we know that we have 4 sampradayas. One of the sampradayas is Kumar sampradayas. So they want to give this knowledge, pass it on through that sampradaya, so that the people will get liberated and understand the Narayan features. So Kumar Sampradaya, they were saying that we are not going to expand anything. Because of that response, what happened to Brahma? Anyone guess?
He had to create more.
He was angry.
He was angry. That is the one turning point here. He become angry, and from between the eyes and between that eyebrow, the another form created. Do you know what is the name of that form?
Rudra.
Rudra created from between the eyes of the Brahma. That's why we say that Rudra came from between the eyebrows of the Brahma. And when Rudra came, And he is the mode of what?
Ignorance.
Like it's passion and ignorance. We can say, when I was trying to read, is majority is the passion, but somewhat some touch in the ignorance. And because of that ignorance and the passionate, the child born and he was crying. Very anxiously he was crying. And the child start asking, I'm thinking that child born and he's asking, okay, tell me, my father, tell me the place where what is my designated place and my names. And he's asking the Brahma, tell me that one, where I should reside and what are my names. Then Brahma start telling, okay, you will get the 11 names and 11 wives. And now I'm giving the instructions that, okay, now can you expand the progenies? But because of the Rudras is more on the passionate side and somewhat level in the ignorance, all the children who come out of that progeny, and these are 1 minute, let me and he was saying, okay, one my note I forgot. He was asking that what is my designated place where I should reside? Right? When he was asking this, he was saying, oh, you have the 11th place to reside. Because of 1 minute, because of the way from the angerness he came, he gave the 11 places to him. One was the heart. Heart also not like a pure heart with the Paramatma thing. He's saying the heart where you can reside, false egocentric attitude of thinking oneself. That's the place you can reside. Senses, the senses which is affected by the angerness in heart, there you can reside. Similarly, he gave the 11 names. Air, where the angry breath will come. The sky, the dense cloud roar in the anger. Then air, wind blow very fiercely. There you can reside. So he's giving the 11 spot to the Rudra where you can reside. Because when he was profoundly crying, he was asking, tell me, Father, where I should reside and what are my 11 names. And he said the water, the flood water, sea water infiltrated by the wind, there you can reside. Fire places, ablaze, where that expansion of the fire, there you can reside. Earth, which is transformed into weapon, there you can reside. Sun, moon, and austerity. So these are the 11 spots he gave. Okay, these are the place you can reside. And out of that, he gave the 11 names to the Rudra. So 11 names were Manu, Manu, Mahinansa, Maham, Shiva, Rutravaja, Ugrareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Dhritvritta. Along with that, now I'm thinking the Brahma, he was a child, he also gave 11 wives. We were thinking that he was like immediately grown up kind of thing. It didn't mention in the purport or anywhere, but as part of the name, place, and the wives, he got it. And the instructions is, now you got the 11 wives. The 11 wives also name mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Dhi, Dhriti, Rasala, Uma, Niyukt, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swadha, and Diksha. So these are the 11 names of the 11 names of Rudra's wife. And now he gave the instructions, why don't you go and create the progeny? Now, because the mood was most of the passionate and ignorance, when the child came out, what are the, it says that when that's of the mood of that parents, what kind of children will come out? They are in the more passionate and some are in the more ignorance. They are making so much of chaos in the entire planet. The Brahma himself was so scared. Then he reached out to Rudra, okay, this is not going to work out. I'm not thinking that you should be creating. He said, stop progeny now. And now in that Brahma asked, he told Rudra, there is no need to create such living entities who are devastating the everything, even attacking me. So please perform the austerity so that you could achieve the auspiciousness, bestow the happiness to all the jivas, and recreate the universe as before, quickly know the Lord. So these 4 instructions Brahma gave it to the Lord Rudra. And now after that, when all the progeny which came out, now again, the learning lesson for us from this message is, if the parents are in the ignorance mode, we cannot think that our child will be, the progeny will be going to be the pure goodness. It's very, very difficult until those children were associated with the higher personality, like sages who are in the pure goodness. So these are the things we always discuss, that if we practice, which is clear instruction from Brahma to Rudra also, why don't you go and do the auspicious activity? And now bestow the happiness to all the jivas and recreate this universe so that everyone will get the benefit. That's why the Rudra is so powerful. That's why the Shiva Tattva, understanding the Shiva Tattva, you won't hear so many lectures on the Shiva from the ISKCON devotees also. It's very difficult to explain because he's so powerful. It's not very easy to explain the quality and all the features of the Rudras. Because once he start doing the auspicious activity, Rudra becomes so powerful. Now we are saying that he is equal to the Narayan. There is no difference. Because explaining the quality of the Shiva is so like the touching point for any of the senior devotees also. Because we need to understand the different tattva of the Shiva. After having that one, then Rudra and all the 11 wives, they stopped the progeny and now they have went to the auspicious state. Then, but still, the work of the Brahma is not stopped. Then Brahma, what he thought? Because Kumāras is not going to work. Rudra, I asked him to stop because that progeny didn't work because he created from the angerness. Now what I should do? He created sages. Sages, now these sages are in pure goodness. So 10 sages and one daughter. And the 10 sages came out of the different part of his body. Narada came because Narada supposed to be there, right? So he was created by Brahma. Vasishtha came from breathing. Daksha Maharaj came from thumb. Bhrigu Maharaj came from, these are all the elevated Rishi Muni. We heard so many times this name also. Bhrigu came from the touch. And Krutu came from hand. Pulastha Rishi Muni came from ears. Angira Muni came from mouth. Atri Muni came from eyes. Marichi came from mind. And Pulaha came from navel of Brahma. And the one daughter came from Vaka, which came from the word of the mouth, right? And now he was talking about, he start establishing the dharma. Dharma came from the right chest, where the Paramatma is situated. So he want to establish dharma by having these Rishi Muni. This is very much, I think, before we read that, okay, how Brahma was start creations, this is what we come to know that. After this Rishi Muni also, they are in the pure goodness. As along with the dharma, but he knows that we also, some of the factors, for some of the thing, which is adharma also came, which are part of, we will read in the translations. We will, when we will go to that. So there is a one descriptions given by the Maitreya Muni is the Vak, V-A-K, that is the daughter name. She came. When she was created, it's mentioned in that purport and in the shloka that Brahma was so attracted to his daughter. So now it is very difficult to understand that how can Brahma, that level, is attracted to her own daughter. But when I was reading from some of the translations and the speakers, they were saying that it should not have mentioned here. The reason is, Maitreya say, we have heard, and which is revealed by the Maitreya in the word is we have heard. It's not that which, I will read exactly what my note is, reveal that Maitreya Muni hesitant and offenselessly attitude in the narrating this incident, although this should not be spoken. He speak about this only to give the knowledge that, 1 minute, where is my, that senses could bewilder even the most learned person, and that one should be extremely careful while associating with the opposite, the personality. This phases also indicate that this incident must have happened in some other kalpa in which Brahma had not yet heard the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. So there are so many things. I was trying to understand this one, how we can digest we are part and parcel from the Brahma, and we came from the Manu, and now the Brahma himself, our supreme personality, which we think that how he can attract. So but based on all the different commentaries, says that Maitreya says that we heard it. Is not necessary that when it happened, because Brahma is also affected by all the three modes. And possibly that he did it before he completely absorbed into all the four Vedas, all or the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam also, and all the instructions from the Supreme Lord. Possibly it happened. It was a creation and he attracted. But in this Kali Yuga, having that attractions, and we heard many times, is possible because people, and these are all in ignorance. So the commentary says that when maybe Brahma in the different kalpa or something, that he can, at his level, he can be affected or attracted to the opposite personality, then what will happen to us in this Kali Yuga? It's a very, very risky thing. And Prabhupada always mentioned that to the opposite person, right? As a man, they will say as a man is like a butter. And who is the woman? Giving the name man as a butter, and what is the woman?
Heat. I think.
Fire. Yes. So whenever the butter will go close to the heat, it will melt. This is the example of the Prabhupada. So we have to be very, very careful. And I always learn whenever you met any Uttam Adhikari or any senior sannyasi, when I go to the Delhi and that area, they avoid. They are not ignoring the other opposite person as a sannyasi, but they will give the answer, but they are not like doing the lot of Parjalpa conversation. They will, because they think that the Maya is so strong. If I go on having the talking, my mind will be distracted. So they will give the answer. They are not ignoring that one. I heard in one of the lecture also, but they are very, very careful that they should not be slipped down to this. And on top of that, what I heard that whenever the new brahmachari will come into the practice, right, they don't give any of the task where he has to interact with the other opposite person. It's very important for the beginner brahmachari or who are in the path of, who are living in the temple. They will give the preaching work. Like my nephew, he's in the Delhi temple. He's saying that, Mama, I'm very, very careful. And I'm learning from our temple president that he himself give the same level of practice. And he's an ideal example for everyone. That's why our Guru Maharaj is so pleased with him. He's a temple president. He has to meet everyone, but his sadhana, his practice is so strong that you cannot divert him. So similarly, now the Kali Yuga is very, very powerful. Kali Yuga powerful is because of the Maya. As soon you will divert, the Maya will grab you. So we need to be very careful. Now the commentary says that this the Maitreya Muni should not be there, because he said that I heard it, but it's not that one. So now Brahma have the 10 Rishi Muni he created in the mode of all positiveness, in the goodness mode, right? They are very Marichi and Atri, and these are, we heard so many times, and we are going to hear so many times also, because they are, and one of them, it will come in this chapter, is Kardama Muni. He is one of them, right? So then Brahma spoke. Once the attractions happened, the Brahma spoke, and they were praying to the Lord that is not suitable for you. It's never happened in now and in the future. The Brahma should be having the attraction to the opposite personality. So then he was so ashamed. Brahma says, the word says that hearing this, Prajapati's son Brahma was ashamed of his act and gave up his bodily concept, the mentality, which appears in all the direction as a fog in darkness. And then Brahma further start creations. What he created after the creating all the goodness people, then Brahma spoke all the four Vedas from his four different directions of the mouth. So Rig Veda, which is activity of the Shastra, the chanting of the mantra, is coming from Rig Veda, and it came from the eastern mouth of the Brahma. This is very important for us also. It's clearly mentioned in the Bhagavad Puran that the chanting and the Shastras, the detail which will increase our spiritual practice, came from the Rig Veda, and it is spoken from the eastern mouth. And the Yajur Veda, Brahma spoke from southern mouth. It was sacrificial performance. All the yagnas are mentioned in Yajur Veda. If you want to please in Treta Yuga, how to please Narayan, you should be speaking from Yajur Veda, and Brahma spoke from south of mouth. Like he has the four mouth, right? On the east, west, north, south. So for this one. And Sama Veda came from his west mouth. Was talking about the singing words, all the poetic thing. That activity, the Stuti and Stotmam, and the singing verses are coming from the Samaveda. And the fourth Veda, Ardha Veda, came from north mouth, was talking about remedial measures, activity of the Brahma, Prayashtitam, remedial measures. So the four Vedas came from four mouth, and the Rig Veda is the prominent, which is talking about bhakti. Right? So after that, Brahma is some supplementary document also he released. Like that supplement is on top of the four Vedas. He was talking about the four Veda is the four other part, which is supplement of the four Veda is Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, Sthapatya Veda. And Ayurveda is the medical science. All the medical thing, Ayurveda knowledge came from this Veda, and again it came from east mouth. So eastern mouth, our Rig Veda, everything is coming for our health, for our spirituality, and for our bhakti. So eastern mouth is the very prominent for us. And Dhanur Veda, military acts, came from south. Gandharva Veda, musical arts, came from western. And Sthapatya Veda, architectural science, came from north. And after speaking this, then it's in Shastra says that what is the name of the fifth Veda? Anyone want to guess? Karthik, yes, Karthik.
The Mahabharata.
Mahabharata was part of that one. The fifth Veda called as Puranas. Again, these are supplement of this one. The Purana is all the Purana. How many Puran we have?
18.
18. That's correct. We should remember these numbers. Four Vedas and our supplement, the entire Puranas, which is split into the 18 Puranas, and Bhagavad Puran is one of them. Again, the Puranas are split into the three sections. You know anyone? What are the three sections? In the three modes.
3 modes.
Yes. So Purana, 6 Puranas came in mode of goodness. So we will discuss that one. I have the list of all the Puranas which are in the mode of. Now you can tell Rudra and those Puranas in ignorance. Our Bhagavad Purana is in the goodness. And we will maybe have different sections, 18 Purana names and which is in which mode. Right? Our Bhagavad Purana is in our this one. So he was talking about this, and this he was talking about the four Puranas came from the four mouth. And the four leg of the dharmas, we know the four legs. In Kali Yuga, we left with only one now. So the 4 we will discuss more further. I will go from my notes. And he was talking about the 4 ashramas, which Prabhupada mentioned. We know that how many brahmachari and grastha life, vanaprastha and sannyas. So he was mentioned that one. So now it's clearly mentioned that, oh, who created this grastha ashrams? So it's coming from the Brahma himself. Is mentioned in the Bhagavad Purana. And 4 after ashram, and he mentioned about the 4 grastha life, varna and ashram, all of them. And further he divided the brahmacharya also in the 4 different levels. Grastha life also in the 4 level, vanaprastha also 4 level, and the sannyas also in the 4 levels. And each came from the different 4 mouth. I will just give, because we all are in the grastha life. So the grastha is called as varta, occupations of non-forbidden, like agriculture. Sanchaya, performing the sacrifice. Salina, taking the alm without the begging. And Silochana, taking the fallen grains in the field. So all these 4 are again further divided into the grastha life. Right? But it's very difficult to remember. These are some notes. But at least we should know when we preach that, okay, who defined this one and where it's coming from, who says there are 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. So these are coming from our Bhagavad Puram Canto 3, where Brahma is defining this. And Maitreya Muni is elaborating in more detailed way how these came. And Vanaprastha and Sannyasa also in the 4 different categories. Any questions so far from the Brahma? Okay, I have few more my notes, and then we will read the all translation. So then it will connect, it will be more easier to understand this Brahma's creations. 1 minute, I'm going to my this. Okay. Yeah, it's also mentioned, I noted down all the audible sounds and the different thing as mentioned, right? So all the 4 Vedas, there is one of the Vedas is giving the more detail about the sound and musical things, poetic things, bhakti related thing, military science, and he was more explaining this. And on the top of that, all the vowels, constant, and everything is coming from the Brahma. So now this chapter gave most of the things which we are utilizing and hearing from Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad Purana or any literatures is all coming from the Brahma. That's why the Brahma says that Brahma is our main creator for all this thing, and all the progeny is coming from Brahma. So with that, let's jump into our shloka part. We will at least read the translation from this chapter. Then it will be much easier. There are some of the purport. Again, my humble request, please go there, because all these notes are coming from some of the Prabhupada and some of the commentaries from his lectures, because all the translation it's not giving that much of detail what Prabhupada is covered in his purport. So canto number 3, chapter number 12, and creations of the Kumāras. So there are 50 of them, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think, yeah. Let's start from my screen. Prasanna Mataji, can you read the 5 of them? First 5.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Text 1. Sri Maitreya said, O learned Vidura, so far I've explained to you the glories of the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his feature of Kal. Now you can hear from me about the creation of Brahma, the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge. Brahma first created the nascent engagements like self-deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity. Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation. In the beginning, Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanak, Sanand, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semen's flowing upwards. Brahma spoke to his sons after generating them. My dear sons, he said, now generate progeny. But due to their being attached to Vāsudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they aimed at liberation and therefore they expressed their unwillingness.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So now you know from the first, it looked like when I was reading this purport and the translation, why the Brahma is creating the death, anger, frustration in the beginning. Maybe he mismatched the script which was given by the God. Okay, you should go and create, but he started creating something which is not more realistic for like expansions of the progeny. So he created these senses, angerness and this. Then he thought, okay, no, look like I'm not doing the right thing. Then he started meditating on the Lord. Now taking the more instruction that what I should do. He created the Kumāras. But Kumāra became so purified, so high level, these become sages. They say, no, we don't want to involve or adopt these materialistic activities. Materialistic activities means creations of the more progenies. We don't want to get into this part. Then now the Brahma thing. Again, Brahma become angry. So let's go to the next 5 shloka. Karthik.
Hare Krishna, Lakshman Bhai. Text 6. On the refusal of the sons to obey the order of their father, there was much anger generated in the mind of Brahma, which he tried to control and not express. Although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows, and a child of mixed blue and red was immediately generated. After his birth, he began to cry, O Destiny Maker, Teacher of the universe, kindly designate me my name and place. The all-powerful Brahma, who was born from the lotus flower, pacified the boy with gentle words, accepting his request, and said, Do not cry. I shall certainly do as you desire. Thereafter, Brahma said, O chief of the demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all the people you have so anxiously cried. That's it, Lakshman.
Thank you, Karthik Prabhu. So here the two things. The child mixture of blue and the red. So in the purport and the commentary says the blue represent the passionate and the red represent the ignorance. So the child born with these two colors and his look, because he is mostly the mixture of the blue and the red color. So the Rudra is in the majority is the passionate. And the second, he mentioned that Brahma says, O chief of the demigod. So Rudra is again the chief of all the demigod. That's why we are, most of the people, they say, okay, instead of going to the different demigod, better we should go and pray to Shiv, to the Rudra. That is another thing. So the people will make that of the things, but again, there are different stories. As I mentioned, explaining the Rudra or the Shiva Tattva is not easy. It's very difficult. It's so powerful because he's the chief of demigod, and he's so much of with a lot of these energies, right? It's difficult. Okay, let's go to Anika. Okay, Karthik. Yeah, yes, Karthik.
Lakshman, you asked about Brahma first created the self-deception, sense of death, anger, and everything. That purport actually gave the answer to your question.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just if you read through that, he's saying that without the existence of those things, you cannot have creation at all, it seems.
Yeah, because the senses is needed, but at the same time, he should be avoiding some of the angerness and those part, right? But these senses is needed before you create any personality. That's correct.
What he said. Yeah.
Yeah,
The purport is pretty good answer he gave.
Very good answer. Yeah. So that's my always request is please go back and read the purport. So some of the things it's not very clear, but yeah. But my point is not only creating the like eyes, ears, and those senses, why we have to be more angerness focused there. But yeah, that's good point. He created all the senses which is needed for this one. But But I think maybe that is the Lord wish.
No, Lakshmana, he clearly explained why was the sense of frustration, why is this needed? If not for those, there is no question of existence, it seems.
Correct. Okay. Thanks, Karthik. Anika.
My dear boy, I have already selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the light, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity. Lord Brahma said, My dear boy Rudra, you have 11 other names: Manu, Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Ruttadhwaja, Ugarita, Bhava, Kala, Vamadev, and Dhutavrata. O Rudra, you also have 11 wives, called the Rudranis, and they are as follow: Dhi, Dhruti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Svadha, and Diksha. My dear boy, you may now accept all the names and places designed for you and your different wives. And since you are now one of the masters of the living entities, you may increase the population on a large scale. The most powerful Rudra, whose bodily color was blue mixed with red, created many offsprings exactly resembling him in feature, strength, and furious nature.
Yeah. Rajiv Shamprabhu, yeah, you can go next. Oh.
Text number 16. The sons and the grandsons generated by Rudra were unlimited in nature, and when they assembled together, they attempted to devour the entire universe. When Brahma, the father of living entities, saw this, he became afraid of the situations. Brahma told Rudra, "O best among demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with the fiery flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me." Text 18. My dear son, you had better situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities, and which will bring all the benediction upon you. By penance only shall you be able to create the universe as it was before. Text 19. By penance only, one can even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity, and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses. Text 20. Sri Maitreya said, Thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas, addressing him with words of assent. He entered the forest to perform austere penances.
Thank you, Prabhu. So here the thing is, as we know that Brahma is, we designated, he's the creator, Vishnu is the maintainer, and Shiva and the Rudra is the destroyer because of that quality. And is mentioned in the purport also. One of the purport is clearly mentioned. That's the thing is. But as after getting the instruction from his father, then he entered into the forest and he started doing the meditation process. Okay, next 5 shlokas.
Text 21. Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities and begot 10 sons for the extension of the generations: Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrigu, Vashishta, Daksha, and the 10th son, Narada, were thus born. Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of his body. The Vashishta was born from his breathing, Daksha from a thumb, Bhrigu from his touch, and Kratu from his hand. Pulasya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marichi from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma. Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein is seated the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. And irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entity.
So, yeah, thanks. Thanks, Anisha. So here the point is, so all these things we discussed, right? These are again very highly elevated sages. Marichi came from the mind. We heard, and we are going to heard Marichi many times, and Kardama Muni in this chapter, in this canto also. So, but the one is the irreligion thing. So irreligions also need to be created. There is the purport, and the Prabhupada mentioned in that purport, the last of them is irreligions which also came. So now the thing is, there is a one Rudra family is going on there, which is more angerness, and they are like throwing the fire, that kind of personality. They are there, right? But and also the top of that one, irreligion thing. And we will come to know that how this Asura, because of some of the senses and the irreligions, mixture of that one, some of the Devis and some of the wives, they were not, I think it's not mentioned clearly that it was intention, but because of this sense, the uncontrollable sense is creating these asuras. And we will learn from this in our activity also in the Kali Yuga, why the human beings, some of them, they are more, क्या बोलते हैं, जानवरों से भी बदतर है. We know that they came as a human form, but their life and the kind of practice they do is worse than any animals. Because it's clearly mentioned in the Bhagavad Puran, because our consciousness is worse than the ignorance mode. That's where our progeny will be in that kind of consciousness. We heard so many news also that people, how this human being can do this kind of act. We heard this, right? How this mentality is coming. The asur paddhati jo mind mein aa rahi hai, how it will come. So these are the instructions which we are getting from Bhagavad Puran. Because when this happening in our that yuga, that kalpa is also happening, then in the Kali Yuga is very prominent. Right? So Ritika Mataji, you want to read next 5?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah. Number 26. Lust and desire became manifested from the heart of Brahma, anger from between his eyebrows, greed from between his lips, the power of speaking from his mouth, the ocean from his penis, and low and abominable activities from his anus, the source of all sins. Sage Kardama, husband of the great Devahuti, was manifested from the shadow of Brahma. Thus, all became manifested from either the body or the mind of Brahma. O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him. Thus, finding their father so deluded in an act of immorality, the sages headed by Marichi, all sons of Brahma, spoke as follows with great respect. Text 30. O Father, this performance in which you are endeavoring to complicate yourself was never attempted by any other Brahma, nor by anyone else, nor by you in previous kalpas, nor will anyone dare to attempt it in the future. You are the supreme being in the universe. So how is it that you want to have sex with your daughter and cannot control your desire? Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So there are two points. One is all the sages, and one of the sage which came from the shadow of the Brahma is Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni, we will heard more about Kardama Muni and the Devahuti thing in the further chapters. But this one of the incident which mentioned that all the Rishi Muni and their son, and they, after talking to him, that how one point is clearly mentioned that none of the Brahma or in the past or in the future they are going to attempt this. So which clearly says that this is the one of the universe, one Brahma, and there are many Brahma is there in other universe. This is other clear instructions from the Maitreya Muni. So we cannot say that there are only one Brahma, or how we could. So now it's clearly mentioned in the Bhagavad Puran. It's not the purport, it clearly came from the Maitreya Muni. There are many Brahmas are there. So this incident again, because understanding this is very difficult, because understanding of all the Ras Lila is happening with the Krishna, and these are beyond our imagination, how this could possible. But the commentary very clearly says that maybe this is not in the Kalpa, maybe the Brahma, he didn't understood full the Chaturshloki, that one, maybe he didn't get the full knowledge of 4 Vedas. So these could be possible, and Maitreya says that we heard it. It's not that he was kind of thing. So for us, understanding is, yeah, it's possible. But another thing Prabhupada mentioned that at that level, if somehow the Brahma level think in that sense, then in Kali Yuga is very, very difficult for us. So we have to be very careful. Thank you, Mataji. Amit Prabhu, next 5 shlokas.
Text 31. Even though you are the most powerful being, this act does not suit you because your character is followed for spiritual improvement by people in general. 32. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto Personality of Godhead, who by his own effulgence, while situated in himself, has manifested this cosmos. May he also protect religion for all goodness. 33. The father of all Prajapatis, Brahmā, thus seeing all his Prajapati sons speaking in that way, became very much ashamed and at once gave up the body he had accepted. Later that body appeared in all directions as the dangerous fog in darkness. 34. Once upon a time, when Brahma was thinking of how to create the worlds as in the past millenniums, the 4 Vedas, which contains all varieties of knowledge, became manifested from his 4 mouths. 35. The 4 kinds of paraphernalia for conducting the fire sacrifice became manifest. The performer, the chanter, the offerer, the fire, and the action performed in terms of supplementary Vedas. Also, 4 principles of religiosity, truth, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness, and the duties in the 4 social orders all become manifested. 36.
No, thank you, Prabhuji. So, yeah, yes, Karthik, Prabhu, just hold on. We will just read it and then we will take the question answer. I think I'm on the last few minutes. So here the thing is, again, as we discussed, right, from the 4 mouth and all the things came in. And because this purport is not giving the much of the detail, but Prabhupada, what is mentioning is, from these 4 Vedas, what is the lesson we learn as a grasta, right? We are not just for eat, sleep, married, and have the progeny thing. There is a beyond that we should be learning from these Vedas. What is exactly mentioned for